Hello, hello, hello. Can y'all hear me? You can hear me.
Ryan, can you hear me?
At least the ones on.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December work session for the Zebulon Board of Commissioners. This meeting is now called to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Favor? Motion passes. Thank you. Community and Economic Development, Shannon.
Good evening, Commissioners. Tonight I'm going to present to you, and Mayor, Commissioners and Mayor. Tonight I'm going to present to you the Chambly Hinton House feasibility study. This was a house that was part of property purchased a couple of years ago, and it is a historic home. It is a contributing structure to the National Historic District. So we thought it would be ideal to engage with a firm to understand the current situation of the structure and potential future uses and any recommendations moving forward. So that's what we did, and this is a small presentation about those findings, and you have the full report in your packet. So this is at 200 East Horton Street, and it was built in 1907. Kind of went through this. The total square footage is 1435. That is with the addition that was made back in the 60s. So it's a one-story house. It's a little bit hard to see, but the area outlined in red includes the deck and what is an L. So it's a gabled L. Addition is in poor condition. It was built quite a while ago, and it really wasn't built to the standard of the original home. So without that, the total interior is 1187, front porch and rear deck. This gabled L should be, it says down here, some areas require demolition and reconstruction. The gabled L does have to come off and be reconstructed in the style of the house. As you can see, it's not a huge amount of space, but it was put on to house the bathroom and the kitchen area, basically to bring plumbing into the house. So to keep its historic contributing structure status to the National Historic District, that has to be removed and replaced with appropriate construction. The architectural features, it has weatherboard siding, very old wood siding, so even though there's paint missing, that wood is still in decent shape. Brick foundation and 4/4 wood sash windows, and there's a cast iron fireplace there still. So the proposed uses that could be for that house, based on the condition of the home and also the zoning, is residential. And so you would, they gave you a little layout of how the kitchen and bath would be renovated, that section that was added on, and a few other amenities. The square footage would increase a little bit because you can put an addition on this as long as it's kept within the style of the home, style of the structure. Second is a office, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, it can be an office, and they give you a little layout of what that would look like. And the third is a mercantile. So they just did a bottle shop, but it could be any kind of retail. And then whatever use is outside of residential would have to have an ADA entrance and path. All uses would have to have an updated bathroom and kitchen, and electrical and HVAC. And then I had a meeting with a couple of the commissioners, Commissioner Davis and Adams, where we went over some of these details. And I think I had told you that we didn't need reinforcement, but we do. We do need load reinforcement on the floor for the retail and the office use, as you see there. And then obviously for those uses, you would need the signage and lighting. The building itself lends itself to have appropriate exits under the fire code because it's not too large in any one way, I think, to run into a problem with that. But it's all about design and layout. So it has to have its character-defining elements, as I've mentioned before. The L needs to be demolished and constructed in the same form, meaning that it holds a bathroom and a hallway and a kitchen. It is eligible for historic tax credits, so should it be a private investor that takes it on to do that, they would be able to recoup the residential tax credits from the state and federal government. And then this is everything that happens should be reviewed and in compliance with the State Historic Preservation Office guidance. So the recommendations and next steps. So those uses are feasible. The business or mercantile would provide greater public activation, more sidewalk activity and really kind of expanding that downtown footprint a little bit. The next steps would be, to engage a structural engineer. We really probably first and foremost would need to contact professional for that exterior wood reconditioning and paint. It has to be a professional that understands how to work with historic structures, and then would be able to give us, an idea of what that expense is and how they would undertake that first piece of preservation. Couldn't confirm the intended use, the council could, and then there's also the opportunity to rehab it and keep it as something that the town would use, or to sell it for development opportunities. So there's a lot going on. I know it's a very useful piece of land, and it does abut to another town-owned piece of land that really is on Proctor, right? So across from the post office. So there's a lot of options going down the road of what other departments, may have in mind for that. But for this particular structure, this is the analysis. It's actually in better shape than it looks. The foundation is pretty secure, and while it does need a lot of love, it isn't a situation where there is a big decision about how could we ever save it. It's got so many problems. It really doesn't. It's really in a good space. So that is that's the report for that, but I'm happy to take any questions that any of you may have.
Any questions, board? Great, thank you. Next.
So I'll move into economic development strategic update. So in August of 24, what year are we in? 25, sorry. August of 2024, the board approved our economic development strategy that we had worked on for a year with a consultant, doing a lot of public engagement, business engagement, stakeholders, partners, and the elected officials as well. So we came up with 5 components that match who we are and where we need to go. And I'll read them out just for the sake of continuity and how we go through the report. Leverage regional assets. The second one is inclusive economy. The third one is key economic growth areas. The fourth is support for businesses. And the fifth is economic readiness. So we have done we've done our beginning work in these 5 areas. Some of it has been done by myself and more of an economic development for the whole town approach. Some of it's been part of the Main Street program and the volunteer board that serves for that nonprofit. So leveraging regional assets, we did partner with Wake Tech and the Zebulon Chamber to begin the launch program. It's a program that Wake Tech provides to all municipalities. They offer the curriculum, they offer the space, and they offer the instructor, which it's all fabulous and incredible to have at our fingertips. So we have 2 cohorts. This was our last cohort of graduates at our graduation ceremony. These businesses, most of them already exist, and some of them are new ventures, but they are very serious, committing to 10 weeks of training, and then they have a mentor program, and they also pitch their business on graduation night. And then after that, we move forward with individuals as they need support. Not all of them will be brick and mortar in Zebulon, but they all have to have a residence. They have to be residents of Zebulon to apply and be considered for the program. So they are bringing in economic, they're bringing more to the economy here, even if they don't have the brick and mortar. Also, we have a hotel site marketing program. We're doing that through the Greater Raleigh Convention Visitors Bureau. That product should be ready in the next couple weeks. And then we will have meetings with hotel developers set up where I pitch our marketing package to them. That'll be late January and into February. And we do have some pretty good sites available, so I do expect that we'll have some negotiations happening and possibly have a sign-on for our first hotel in the calendar year of 2026. And then we participate with Wake Economic Development in all of their meetings and programs. They're a huge resource, and Main Street as well. The information sharing and the guidance from those organizations is really a huge asset to a small department of 2 people. So we're very grateful for that. Inclusive economy, we know that TNT 3D Manufacturing has 60 new jobs they're going to add to their facility here. And then they also have an approved workforce development program through the Capital Area Workforce Development Group. And that is a program that they put all of their new employees through. It's a life skills program. It's business program. It has many, many components to create a solid workforce that has a low attrition rate and really sticks with the company. They were able to apply through the town and then the town to the Department of Commerce for the 3D building reuse grant, and that will give them an amount of money for 36 jobs. Those jobs have to be kept for 6 months at least. They have to have them for at least 6 months back at the end of the 18-month period of the grant, and those funds are based on all of their investment. So they're investing in the building. They're investing in the infrastructure of the building and really the roof, everything. They're uplifting the whole building. And so because they're putting that into the building, Commerce will give them money back per job that they keep for a certain amount of time. This is a really exciting grant, and it's the first one in Wake County because while there are rural census tracts, this, for whatever reason, this hasn't happened in Wake County before. And then we have some mixed use properties that are happening through the planning department and the recruitment to supply the out parcels and the retail and service to those is part of what I work on, continually working on recruitment. And then We have a facade grant that's in review. Actually, there's a draft. I think it's going to be approved probably at the next Main Street meeting. Same amount of money total in the pot for the facade grant. They're just looking at increasing the per grant amount because everything's quite a bit more expensive than years ago when they first put that in place. So that's going through the Main Street Board soon. And then we did budget to have a half year of a building upfront grant. And so they're creating that, the verbiage for that grant, all the guidelines and everything now. And I'm sure that will be approved pretty soon. That grant, much like the Commerce Grant, will only pay its portion in matching commitment that the business puts into the building. So it has to be building specific, not business specific. So if that business were to get up and leave, the plumbing work is going to stay or whatever was approved. Very common to spur investment in downtowns, and we're excited to see that we're able to get to that point now. So here's some the words, I guess we say. Our key economic growth areas. So Five County Stadium is what we call our stadium development area, and the RFP is completed, the tenant is secured. We're already engaging with them for the capital improvements needed for the first season to start in May, end of May 2026. We're engaging with them for their schedule to look at how the town can choose our dates of activities we want to have out there. They're very responsive, and we see that as an area not only for Capital Broadcasting to develop, but also because of their partnership, we're now able to market the areas around the stadium for more than what it's zoned for now, which is mostly industrial, and that's fine. But if we don't have industrial and we're on the roadway, we really should be looking at other types of investment that can happen there too. So I have a recruitment video I'm going to show you at the end of this. You guys funded that, and we're happy to say it's finished, but it's in a draft form. We're waiting to launch it to the public when we have our website in conjunction with communication manager's new website rollout. So it'll all kind of come together at the same time and go through the same approvals and recommendations and all of those things. But I'll show it to you today because it's pretty cool, and you guys funded it, so it's really exciting to have that. And then we're developing two things next fiscal year. And one is a very comprehensive business recruitment and expansion program with all of the fundamentals of video, website, all these other pieces in place. There's more time for me to actually focus on a structured program to recruit what we need and give our businesses the attention they need and the resources they need to expand. The second thing we'll do is a site readiness program, and that is where we really have a full analysis of our sites that are available or not available, and we try to understand where we are in terms of promoting them, whether it's understanding the environmental concerns or any other infrastructure pieces that need to be in place. We do have to pull electric from a lot of different places, and gas and water, and so we want to be able to have all of our plans laid out so that you can make the decisions you need to moving forward that will help us recruit the highest and best use for some of those, the land that still exists as sites to develop. The downtown program has worked on walking loops, so there are defined walking loops. There's a mural walk, and all of that will be available in the Wander app. We're still working. I think Sheila, at this point, I think it's mostly Sheila that's working out with the rollout of that through the Greater Raleigh Convention Visitors Bureau, working out the details of some glitches. Once that is out and we're promoting it, we will have signage out. throughout town, and then the downtown pieces will be promoted through that app, through the Greater Raleigh Convention Visitors Bureau website, through our website, and the downtown social media, the town social media. Be lots of ways that gives people an itinerary, things to do. You can do things one-off, you can do things connectively. It's not just downtown, but it does take some time and effort to put these things together, and so our volunteers have stepped up to do a good amount of that work. And then we do have ongoing downtown business recruitment, always. We do probably 70% of the conversations we have, we can't really match the needs of the individual to the inventory that we have, because we don't have a huge downtown. We have what we have. Some things look available, but they're not. They've been purchased, they have plans. So we have been able to pull Jernigan Furniture. It's also a 4-generation legacy business in North Carolina, into where Whitley Gallery was in the main building. So that's really an exciting recruitment piece. And we have a dermatologist office coming. They're upfitting the building now, and we have a new coffee shop that has a social benefit program with it, where they train individuals with development disabilities to work in retail and service. So it'll be quite an addition to downtown, and I think that our citizens will be very supportive and happy to see another walk-up business. So support for businesses, you know, we do the best we can with all of our great partners. They do provide a lot of support, and the planning department is probably our number one go-to. We get together, whether the call or email comes through planning or comes through economic development, and we try to find a way to make happen what they're interested in doing. When we do that, we talk through all kinds of options. We help people get to the yes around, you know, the UDO and zoning and state regulations and everything else that they have to deal with depending on their business. So it's a huge support to have the smooth collaboration that we do with that department. And then these are all the other groups that we work with, and obviously Greater Raleigh Convention Visitors Bureau is a huge asset. They provide so many programs that we participate in, and they also you know, help the town in other ways, like working with the Parks and Rec Department. Economic readiness is also infrastructure. So road and intersection improvements tied to mixed-use growth. The planning director has been great at utilizing investment from our commercial growth to connect the roads that take a little bit of the traffic off of the main roads. You know, these are state-owned and supported highways that we don't have the ability to regulate as far as the size and improvements, right? So it's really great to have connectors to eliminate some of that heavy traffic. And those are expensive, and it's better for developers to pay their portion as they invest here and help us with that. So Matt's been able to work on that, and that is huge for conversations that we have about future use of land. We do have some utility mapping that's planned out. The utility mapping will give us an idea of what we need to do, not necessarily a plan to do it. That will be something that we'll have to come back to you guys for and kind of give you the ways to prioritize based on where it is in town, severity of an upgrade that might be needed. But we have to start doing that, or else we will see, as we encourage development, some failures in some of those infrastructure programs, and we'd rather be in front of that, right? And then one thing we haven't done that I hope we will be able to start doing is advocating more for the interstate widening, and for, we already have an increase in public transit just by our bus stops that were added this year. So that's huge. And it actually increased the route from Raleigh to Zebulon, going through Wendell and East Wake. It increased the route, how many times a day it comes and goes in the morning and in the evening. So that's a really big improvement, and we'd just like to see that continue to happen in other types of transit as well. So downtown also has readiness. The more beautification we do, the more investment that happens, the more it becomes ready for future investment, right? And we have infill marketing. So we're going to take second half of this fiscal year and look at all of our infill sites. So they may be downtown and outside of downtown. And we'll be marketing through the new website and some other ways to get the one-off development for those infill sites. If we market it and we bring them in, then we can talk to them about what we want versus letting the market do it on its own. So that's the idea. And the same for the Triangle East Business Park. It has the opportunity to hold a lot more. And I think it's important that we partner with them to start understanding what their vision is for some of the sites that remain. Try to get that investment there. And again, get the connector from that to the back of that Walmart area. And then we obviously have our housing study. Our housing study is going to give us inventory. It's going to give us current needs, and it's going to give us 10 years out future needs for housing based on data. And also, we're doing the housing survey. You can go on Facebook for the town and complete the survey. We're leaving it open through the holidays. We're just trying to get as many responses as possible. So we're hoping that people will give us a few minutes to just anonymously let us know your opinion on what you want, need, what you perceive. And then from that, we'll be able to bring to you data and then have real conversations about next steps that you want to take to bring workforce housing, to bring affordable housing, to preserve housing. There's lots of different ways that that you can be involved in the housing, providing housing here. And that report that we give you will have some real tangible ideas from other communities that have done it in our area. So I think you'll find it very useful. And then I'll answer any questions you have, and then I'll play you a fancy video.
Any questions from the board?
I got some questions.
Commissioner Roa.
Thank you. So awesome presentation, good information. When you talk about shovel-ready sites, right, our current zoning map is 73% residential and only 10% industrial. Do we need to bring in Director Lauer and discuss possibly rezoning more of the land around the highway corridor to industrial to allow you to have more shovel-ready sites in case, like if you have advanced manufacturing, right, as one of the companies, if somebody called you today and says, I need 50 acres, would we be able to help them or no?
Well, not with one site particularly, just because of how land is right now. I mean, that's just how people have divided up or accumulated acres over the years. But I will tell you that I do get RFIs from the state. They come through for companies that are expanding, and it puts, I mean, if it comes to me, it's coming to like every economic developer in North Carolina, right? We, most of the time, don't have either the land, an existing building, or one of the utilities that is required. So I look at every one of them and I try, but we haven't been too successful with even replying to very many. I think it's a good conversation to have. I think it's a conversation that can also help us with advocacy to increase the 2 lanes to the 3 or 4 lanes that it needs to be. on the highway, because if we can maximize the companies that come here, their distribution through the Norfolk port or their warehouse and distribution facilities there, instead of having to rely on, a large distribution area like Charlotte that's further away and also doesn't have a port, so you're still limited, then I think that, we can have more industrial, we can spend time assembling, making an assemblage that is large enough to do those things. But we don't have a ton of that land, right? Like you said, even if you look at the land that's available, there's not a lot of it. So we have to be very strategic. But I think if we can start pushing for expansion of our interstate sooner, we can, on the back end, receive the benefit of getting some really quality investment. So to answer directly, yeah, I think we can talk about that. I think there's a comprehensive land use plan renew coming up, so that'll be part of that discussion. Yeah.
Do anything further to make sure that happens, or do we leave it like that, Madam Mayor?
Anything further to make sure
That Planning Director Lauer explores with the Economic Development Department what rezoning some of the land along the corridor highway looks like, so we have more industrial property.
When is your, yeah, come
is
on
that,
up.
I was going to
Come on up,
say, it
Matt.
would be a direction from the consensus of the board if that's something we want to move forward, but
We'll listen to Matt.
Okay.
What you else say?
Bauer.
So we have many of the policy tools we need to recruit these businesses. So the entire corridor effectively between Walmart and the stadium is on the future land use map designated as industrial. Some parcels are light, some parcels are heavy industrial, but there's enough overlap that if a business there were to be alignment between an industrial user in the town of Zebulon, we have the tools to bring an approvable plan forward in time. I think that a broader strategy or broader thinking as you think about the strategic plan as a board, one thing that I think is very unique about Zebulon is that it's got a foot both in Eastern North Carolina and a foot in Raleigh-Durham. And that's really positive for economic development, one, because of how we're closer to the Port of Norfolk than anybody else. And then two, because we're still eligible for a lot of the grants and a lot of the state support that the more rural counties of Eastern North Carolina get. So we're in this sweet spot, and we have it's a sweet spot both in terms of location and I think in terms of time. And so I think this is all well aligned. If your concern is that we don't have the tools now if something were to come, maybe this makes you feel a little better that I think we do have the tools to support it. It's not perfect, but nothing is. And I think that as the board goes through a strategic planning process, both with the interim town manager and the incoming manager, I think that we're in a sweet spot to take that next step.
Okay. The follow-up question to that is what I mentioned in the hallway about estate zoning. We don't have, if we were to recruit a company, the CEO is going to be looking at a certain type of housing to live in. We don't want to lose those types of professionals to Wake Forest or Wendell. Can we explore estate housing or estate zoning, or do we have that currently?
Okay, so we have a list of UDO updates staff would like to bring forward.
Okay.
One of those is to take our R1 zoning, which is effectively estate zoning, and make some modifications to it so it can be used in places other than just the watershed. And ensuring that we have all of the tools that create housing choice, both in terms of affordability, size, product. We don't have all those tools yet, right? And so that's one example of we're almost there, and we need to make some modification to R1 to make that happen. And so if that's is something that the board is interested in doing, that's a zoning change or change the UDO that we can move up our list of priorities. So.
I would probably implore the board to consider that, because if we're actively trying to recruit these companies, we want to set up our land use to house those large manufacturing companies that are listed here that we're recruiting, and we want to be able to house the professionals that come with the land. But yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Third question I had was regarding getting you assistance, right? You're taking all this on your own, and at the Wake County Mayor's dinner that I was invited to go to, I spoke to some people from Wendell, and their model in Wendell is they have one person like yourself, the economic developer, and they have a team of community advocates. Now that one of the chairs, one of the seats in there is for the Chamber of Commerce. So that ties the community group together with the chamber. And they do a lot of the things that you've listed. They do the mural, the walking, they would be able to do the app, they would do the beautification. It seems like, as you're describing everything that you've done, which is great, creating a board like that, or imploring the board to explore what that looks like for implementation in Zebulon would help relieve you of a lot of these things to allow you to focus on recruiting businesses and doing all of the KPIs.
And I, absolutely, and that is what our Main Street manager and our Zebulon Downtown Development Association does. So the association is a 501c3 nonprofit, just established a little over like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. And they have, so they're still in a bit of their infancy in, getting rolling, but they've done quite a bit. And so they do manage the feet on the ground work for all of that. And then the staff person, the Main Street manager, is housed here in the town to ensure that there's a focus and guidelines to do that work. And it's through the Main Street, North Carolina Main Street North Carolina Main Street program, which is comes down through the national program. It's housed in Department of Commerce. And it has the ability to be quite broad as it grows. And so I appreciate that model. And if we didn't have the Main Street program, I think it would be very necessary. And I do think as we grow, because our growth is projected to be quite tremendous, we probably will need an economic development advisory board. And I've worked in towns with those, in addition to the Main Street board. And so you're right on target. As far as future plans, I have proposed, and we are still working through we're working through the beginning of the budget cycle, which is putting together all the pieces. And so you'll see some of that. I've proposed another person to come in to have the BRE program and the site selection program. We have to have another warm body doing the work, or it will be very sporadic and probably not as effective to keep up with the amount of growth that we're seeing and we know is coming. So I realize we will need, another person, and that there may be a time period where we say there's enough going on that it's time to start a board. Currently, I think starting an economic development program, which is what I've done in many different ways in 5 local governments in North Carolina. They're not all the same, you can't do the same thing. But in starting a program, there's so much work that has to be done those first couple years. It really isn't seen as shiny buildings and jobs, but I'm just about at the end of that. And so I think that developing these programs going forward, the BRE and the site selection program specifically, so that I am doing that work every day, will start to show a little more. And then I'll be able to really say, this is, here are some numbers to quantify the work that's being done and justify, having some more support, whether it's in the form of a board, another person that works for the town, however that plays out. But yeah, you're on target. I mean, I couldn't do all of that by myself. So thank goodness I have Main Street
just because
program.
when I heard you talk about the RFIs that you get, right, is that something that's, is there like a dashboard or report that the board
No.
gets of how many businesses call you or how many RFIs we've missed and the reasons why we've missed them? Because I think the board could probably, like this is what I'm asking the board, right? If we got a report that says we missed 6 RFIs because we don't have the site development, then we'd act a little faster than waiting for an update.
So basically, you're just looking for something to gain data, to get more insight of kind of what that data looks
like KPIs is what we use in real estate. So like to determine, how many calls we're getting, how many businesses are in the pipeline. Is that something that your department has or can
It's-
develop?
I have done it sporadically, I'll be honest. I've done it sporadically, and I did report about that when I gave my first economic development report in 2023, the fall of 2023. We have had changes in priorities over the last couple of years, and the priority has not been to provide that type of data. It's been very programmatic and project related. So that's what we've been following and providing in reports. I do have a CRM program for economic development that I'm examining to try to push into this next year's budget, because it is important that we start really, I can keep track of what I'm doing now, but as we grow and I'm doing this every day in and out, it will get to be complicated. So I have explored that. I'm still, I have one more meeting with them in early January, and then I should be able to figure out the components that work the best for us and what kind of pricing that will look like. We will, from that program, then I would be able to have all of the reports that you want, to be able to show success in certain areas where we struggle, why we struggle. You know, we could be able to calculate up that information. And yeah, so I agree that it's good to have data. And I think that we'll be able to provide that. I will say too, though, Wake County Economic Development does a report every year where they show all of the data about the RFIs that come in. It changes from year to year. The first year I was here, people were wanting, I think it was like 50,000, 55,000 square foot buildings. And now it's going, then last year it was 150 square foot buildings. It's really interesting how the average can change, right? The types of businesses that are coming to Wake County, and I mean, it's just Wake County, but we still can tap into that for our data. Changes as well. So it might be like it used to be headquarters, and now it's going to be, you know, like an advanced manufacturing or biotech, you know, that kind of thing. So it's interesting, and I can send you those reports if you like to take a look at them. It does give a little bit of insight, and I think if we take that and then we were able to put a program in place this next fiscal year and really start bringing in all that data, then we'd have the countywide and also, you know, what's happening on the ground for us here.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me show you this video real quick. So you guys
get-
can,
you
I
get
can
what
leave
you
on a high.
Have any other questions from the board? All right.
I didn't check the volume. Oh, it's way up, so, okay, we'll see. Hopefully we put it on. There we go.
Great video.
Okay.
Thank
Anything
you for
further?
sharing that with us.
Okay, and I have one more thing for you before I let Rick have his thing. So I've got to do little marketing bits, and I've been giving them out when I go places, but really it's like, if you come to Zebulon, we'll help you with whatever issues you have. One of our advantages of being here is that we can provide service. So any more problems you might have might be in this bag.
Thank you.
Solution might be in this bag. Thank you. But, you know, we just try to be different and give the folks in here that they know that we're serious about our dedication.
Shannon. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute, oh, I'm sorry.
Just before we go, just want to make sure we keep that board in mind, keep that in the horizon. You're talking about
Advisory board?
Advisory board.
Yeah, I don't think that we're there yet, but keeping it in mind is not a bad idea.
We're not too far.
Why not get one going now?
Because we're having trouble staffing some of our other boards that we've already committed to, and Shannon's already said that we're not quite ready for one yet, but I think for the future, it's something that we should absolutely explore.
Yeah, I don't have a voice, sorry. Hopefully you can hear me. I actually like the idea.
Yeah.
I do think it's something that we should consider. I like that you brought that up to our attention and Shannon talked about. Can y'all hear me?
Amber likes the idea, and she thinks that it's something that we should look at
Strategic planning.
in the strategic planning. There you go. Got you covered.
I like it a lot. Like I said, and I think we kind of may not be there, but I'd rather be in front of it than wait until we need it.
We
So
should
we're there.
also have a board of volunteers that work in business in town, anybody that
That's
wants
what
to
the
be-
Main Street program does?
Yeah, we do. For the Main Street, for downtown.
Maybe not through the Main Street, but through us, like the town of Zebulon, specifically a board here that could sit like the planning board and sustainability board, and they could assist. For example, like I know some of the people that graduated from your program, the
launch program.
the launch program. So the next steps, like I met with someone who were like, "Now I need to do some marketing." That would have been a great way to be like, go to this body, this board that we have, and they'll help you with like the next steps of something, right? It doesn't have, or maybe that board can meet once a month at the Creative Cup or Smash Masters and highlight local businesses through social media, just as a volunteer group to say, hey, we're here at Mona Pants, right, today, and then the board is just walking through there and highlighting things. Just a way for the town to, at no cost to us, have people that want to be involved, that are maybe involved in different groups, kind of unify for just the single purpose of marketing our local businesses or helping people with a marketing plan at no cost to them and at no cost of time to you, right? So that was kind of my vision for a board. And then when you feel that it's time to formally have one, then you already have it in place and can just adopt it or, put a policy in place. So that was kind of what I was getting at. I think we have a lot of people that are hungry to get involved.
There you go.
And some people don't want to read plans or, be on Parks and Rec, but they love business and marketing. And I think that would be easier sell to get more people involved.
Well,
Do we want to do that, or do we want to have a conversation with the chamber? Because that's really their area of expertise.
I think we're at a point where we need something in-house. Chambers is own entity within itself, but what it also does, picking back up what Commissioner Roy said, it gives people an opportunity to feel like they're being part of the process as we grow. That's going to be key, where their voices are being heard. And I believe we have enough people with 13,796 citizens. We have enough to man that board if we wanted to. So that volunteer opportunity is there. So I really do like that idea.
Shannon, I'm sorry. Shannon, I was going to say that video was really excellent because it highlights the potential of the town. And not just the potential of this town, but of Wake County, period. And so in aligning with what Commissioner Rowe is saying, we're at a pivotal point where we're growing so rapidly, and we do have a community that wants to get involved. So why not stir the pot now? While we have all this potential growth as you continue to market, that's going to get people more excited to not want to just be here, but those that want to come. So I think what you're saying, this is the time to start highlighting and making these things happen now.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a lift to her. Just give you just that little extra boost that the economic department needs. Right now, that's what we're hearing a lot of the citizens saying, okay, we got plenty of houses, but we're looking things to do. The economic part, it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? They're constantly saying that. So that would also give that where we use constantly transparency. So they'll be part of the process. This is what we're doing. You are now part of that process. So I really do like that.
And I will say that our communications manager is doing a series with East Wake TV covering these 5 areas of economic development strategy and all the things that are happening in those areas to give the community that little bit of information that they've been looking for. I mean, I think we now that we have, a good communications person in place that's, developing a plan for all of our departments, I think we're going to be able to get that out. For a lot of us, we've been on our own. And so when it's 2 people in a department and we're on our own, it's limited, and we're going to keep it at the highest, most exciting news because we don't have the ability to write press releases all the time. And so now we can bring it down to a diverse information group that goes out, right? Mm-hmm. So it can be all about different programs. It can be about different resources. It can be about all different kinds of successes that happen. And we just are able to, work through our marketing department to do that. So I'm really excited about that. And the new website for both economic development and the whole town, they'll be integrated, but that we'll be able to coordinate how that information is put out there, and it'll be done fairly easily by each department. I think, we have a newsletter option that goes out on that, so people can sign up for that. So I think we can work our way into evaluating the interest of folks participating, because really we should be answering the call. And I think with a newsletter, we get that rolling, we get enough people kind of signing up, interested in receiving something, every other month or however it works out, we would be able to start asking, would you like to participate? Are you interested? We can pull that into part of the work plan. Because it will fit in one of our categories, I'm sure. So it's a great idea. There's nothing wrong with figuring out the desire of people.
So can I just
Yes, ma'am.
kind of give some direction so we can, so interim. Would it be possible for I would say maybe the February board meeting to just bring us back some information on what that would look like or what that could possibly look like? If we could just get some information on what that board or what that would look like, what it looks like in other municipalities, brought back to us. I'm saying February because January is tomorrow. But if that is enough time, interim period, Chief Perry.
I tell you what, I'll commit us to. I don't know how much commitment I can do. we will certainly look at what we can put together for February, and if we need another month or so to get that together, I'm sure you'd be gracious enough to give us another month or so. But we'll put down February as our goal. How about that?
Give that man a raise.
There will be.
Thank you.
There'll be the Main Street Board will be giving their annual update in February as well.
Perfect
We'll be
timing.
having that on there, so yeah, they can go together very well.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Shannon.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. We're going to take a 5-minute recess before our next presentation. reconvene. Thank you, Director Fletcher.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. There are some new faces, and I'm sort of new here too, I guess. 6 months was this. My 6 months was this week, huh?
You're old man now.
Now. Well, for those that may not, I'm Rick Fletcher, Public Works Director. I also have Joseph Collins. He's our Public Works Capital Projects Manager here tonight, and Mike Shirosky from Dewberry. Together, we're hoping to bring everyone up to speed and answer any questions you may have regarding the proposed traffic control measures for the intersection of Judd and Arundel. I know the funding, design, and construction of the new fire EMS facility has been ongoing for a couple of years. I think I asked the Chief earlier, it's a couple, 2 to 3 years. Along with that process, there was also approximately $1.9 million approved in the budget to install some type of traffic control measure at the intersection of Judd and Arundel. To ensure emergency response vehicles have unimpeded access to Arundel. With construction of the new fire and EMS facility underway, the next step is to move forward. The next critical step, I must emphasize, is to move forward with assessing the intersection and determining the best option for traffic control. Dewberry was contracted to conduct the assessment, provide the preliminary engineering report, and determine the best option for traffic control at the intersection. Michael's here tonight, as I said, to present those results. If there are no immediate questions before he gets started with the presentation, we can follow up with questions afterwards. But,
Any questions from the board?
okay, Michael, if you're.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, Board of Commissioners, staff, thank you. Appreciate having the opportunity to come here. My name is Mike Saraski. I'm with Dewberry Engineers. As Rick said, we were fortunate enough to work on this project for the town. And I'm going to go through the presentation. When I give presentations, I like to answer questions as I go because sometimes things come up and you don't want to wait till the end. So please do feel free to ask any questions during the presentation. So that way we can have a flow of conversation during the presentation. I'm not the type of person that likes to just stand up and talk. I want it to be more of a conversation. So hopefully we can do that tonight. So as you know, really the impetus for this is the fire station. That was the reason for it. As Rick said, that's the reason we were brought on to look at this, to give better access to the fire station, to make it easier for the fire department and emergency services to get in and out onto Arundel. As you know, Arundel has a good amount of traffic on it. What this slide is telling you is, right when the last ADTs, which is average daily traffic, when it was taken in 23, there was about 13,000 vehicles per day. Looking forward out to 2045, the projection that was given to us by NCDOT and CAMPO, which is the local MPO, is 17,000 vehicles per day. So a good amount of traffic on Arundel right now and into the future. Judd Street, more of a minor street. There is some people that go into the back of the shopping center. There are some people that use it to get over to Shepherd School, but mostly it's local traffic. On the low side, 1,400, 1,600, 1,423, 1,645. So when we did this, when we started looking at this, what we really wanted to hone in on was certain things. Traffic and safety obviously are the two biggest things. A lot of people, the first thing they see when they go to anywhere, and it was even brought up during the economic development discussion, is traffic. Right, so as part of this, we did a traffic analysis of the intersection, as well as looked at safety at the intersection. Knowing that the projected traffic is going to grow, we wanted to make sure that whatever we brought forward would work into the future. So we looked at future traffic data. We grew the traffic data out to the future to look at how it would perform. We know that there's a proposed fire station, as I mentioned. We did an analysis of the existing traffic, so we did traffic counts, which included what we called a near-miss information or near-miss data, which we actually have a couple videos to show you, which videos I think speak louder than words or numbers do. And then obviously increased number of bicycle and pedestrian traffic. There are some gaps in sidewalk along Arundel that maybe could also be included as part of this project. We did talk about this potentially being a downtown gateway. I don't know if that's as important now. It's really more importantly that we really serve the fire station and emergency services. And there's a lot of safety concerns about a 4-lane section roadway. These types of roads, 4 lanes, so 4 lanes, 2 lanes in each direction, these types of roads are not built anymore. This is an old style roadway. It was done to carry traffic. It was done by NCDOT to carry as much traffic as possible. If carrying a lot of traffic is not your priority, this is not the best use of the pavement on the ground. And so four-lane roads are really not used nowadays like this, where there's 2 lanes in each direction with just a double yellow line in the middle. So as I mentioned, we collected data. We did 24-hour traffic counts on a typical day at the intersection. We looked at also traffic counts at the entrance to the shopping center and apothecary. What we found is that there is some limited sight distance in places. We did a crash report. There was 11 crashes in 5 years in the area. Nothing that was too severe that happened over that 5-year time period. And then talking a little bit about the 4-lane section, there are some left turns that could be perceived as in the way in that 4-lane section. There are excessive delays on Judge Street. And if you've driven this section of roadway, at some point, you've probably had someone race you down the street. I see it. It happened to me on the way here, actually. Or I went downtown before I came over here, and it happened to me literally today. It almost happens to me every time I'm driving down Arundel. Someone's racing me down to get in front of me when the left lane drops on the Lee Street. So it's one of those things that, can we also not only help the fire station, but can we also solve some safety problems at the same time while we're doing this? And so like I said, we do have some near-miss data. There were what we call, so near-miss data, just to give you a sense, we did a video of the 24 hours. So when we did the counts, the counts were done using video. A near miss is any time cars cross each other or cars cross pedestrians or bicyclists in less than 2 seconds. In a 24-hour period, that happened 45 times. Oh, yeah. It was, when we got the data, we said the same thing, Commissioner Adams. We said the same exact thing. We were wow, and then we looked at the video and said, yeah, this is something that probably we need to fix somehow. So let me go into. I'll go with that in a minute. So these are our crash report. These are the types of crashes that we saw. A lot of rear end crashes, a lot of side swipes. A lot of what you see when there's left turning vehicles. A lot of those vehicles come into contact with each other. So it's very typical on a road like this to see these types of crashes. And because you would hope it's lower speed, we're not seeing any injury crashes or any death crashes, so we didn't see any fatalities out of this, but there's still enough of them to be concerned. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can play this. So this is I'm gonna show you 2 videos of some of the near misses that we saw. And so I'll just let the video run.
Wait, that's wrong? I'm kidding.
Did it almost look like that second car sped up when that person turned in front of them? These are the ones that concern me the most when we see pedestrians, especially when there's no crosswalk there. It'd be,
Just look at the tour. Ooh, Lord.
And by the way, we did show these videos at the public meeting we had last year. So we actually had these running consistently through the presentation. I think we already saw this one. So let me see if I can get to the next one. Here we go.
What's the speed limit on this road? 35?
75.
You couldn't tell. That's not 35, yeah.
You can see some of the racing that I mentioned earlier too on this video, because obviously it's pointing towards downtown. I should have mentioned that too. For your bearings, Town Hall is behind you in this, and downtown is forward.
Wow.
Yes, that was a Go Raleigh bus.
That bus had to go into the right lane to not hit him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this one's a little longer than the other one, so I might cut this one off because this is one of those that has a lot of them in it. So I'll just go ahead and move on because you kind of get a sense. You kind of get a sense for what we were seeing. I wasn't going to show you all 45 of the near misses. We're going to show you some of them. So when we were looking at alternatives on how to make it best for the fire station, for emergency services, but also to move traffic, add in some bike ped. We looked at two options. One is a traffic signal, pretty typical, and the other one was a roundabout. The best thing about a traffic signal is you are bringing people to a stop. It's going to be easier for the fire trucks to get in and out. We can actually put what's called preemption on the signal. So it's where you actually can, when a fire truck is coming through, it'll give priority to the direction that the fire truck is coming from so that they don't have to stop. And that's one of the best parts about this, is really trying to get that priority for the fire trucks and for any emergency services coming out of the building that's being built right next door. What's great about the roundabout is you don't have a roundabout works for all hours of the day. A signal is great at rush hour. It's great at times to help the fire trucks, but a roundabout, you don't have to worry about stopping any time of day. It narrows down the traffic, makes people slow down. And so there are pros and cons to both of these. So we, with discussions with the town, we came up with these two alternatives and did analysis on both of these alternatives. One other thing that we looked at was, again, I talked earlier about the 4-lane section, not a great section, 2 lanes in both directions. And it does change to 3 lanes down at Lee Street. And so one other thing that we looked at as part of this project, whether it's part of this or maybe another project, if you want to include it, but we did throw in some analysis on changing that 4-lane section down to 3 lanes, putting in what's called a 2-way left turn lane, adding in potentially adding in bike lanes, sidewalks, trying to make it more walkable, more user-friendly, just to help out the area. Some of the development that's already happened there, the townhomes that were developed there, they added some sidewalks, so this project could potentially fill in some of the places left where sidewalk is not there. What this also does is it gives a good terminus to the left turns coming off of 87. When you go past the shopping center, be able to make the left on the Judd. So it really helps with some of the turn lane situations and some of the terminus, and you're not going to find that kind of racing happening down that section of Arundel anymore with this, because you're forcing it all into 1 lane in both directions. So we did, like I mentioned, we had a public meeting. We met last December. We had a very good amount of people come, and we had 20 residents attend. We had a few planning board members. We had a few town board members come. What we found is that the alternatives were kind of split. I think most people really, really liked the 3-lane section part, but at the intersection, either the roundabout or the signal, people liked both of those things. I think just people wanted to see something happen. I think that was one of the themes that I got out of it. We got a survey. We did a survey also. We got 106 responses from a survey. It was an online survey. We did have the survey open before and after the public meeting to make sure that if people wanted to give their opinion, they could. And one of the big themes from that was adding a left turn on Arundel, because right now there isn't a designated left turn onto Judd in each direction. Anything we do would include that. And then, again, the theme was they wanted some sort of traffic calming there, some better safety. So what we heard at the public meeting, what we got from the surveys were very in line with the alternatives that we were looking at. I think, again, the whole goal, I think, is people just wanted to see something that was safer. So now, where the rubber hits the road, where we put together some cost opinions. And what you'll typically see is when you're looking at a traffic signal versus a roundabout, roundabouts are getting more expensive. And one of the main reasons why roundabouts are getting more expensive is because there might have to be some land acquisition. You're gonna have to move more utilities because it's just a larger footprint. While the maintenance down the road is less, the upfront cost is a lot more. And so what you see here, and again, this was just our initial cost opinion on really preliminary plans. Roundabout is about 1.2 million. The traffic signal is about 750,000. Right in your, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt
you. No, go for it.
Mid-word. When you say that a roundabout is more expensive, but then less expensive moving forward, because that's a state-owned road, if we were to put in a traffic signal, we would not have to then maintain that traffic signal. And
Correct.
so it would actually be less for the town, or are there other costs that make it so that it would actually cost us more to have the traffic signal?
It would actually, so it's the maintenance cost is the traffic signal. So if you turn over maintenance of the signal to NCDOT,
Right.
it'll be for them to maintain.
Okay.
If you put in a roundabout, you might have to have some sort of maintenance agreement with NCDOT to do some things on there, like maintain the sidewalk, maintain some of the strips, the grass strips, things like that. So in general, it's more expensive for a signal for maintenance for the town. A roundabout might actually be a little more expensive on maintenance.
Thank you.
So, yeah, no problem. So, traffic signal is around 750,000. That's with no turn lanes. We would propose to add turn lanes on Judd, and those are turn lanes on Judd Street. We would already have the turn lanes on Arundel. To add the turn lanes on Judd Street would be just under $1 million, and then that section of changing it from 4 to 3 lanes is around 300,000. One of the key with that, just to tell you this, what a lot of municipalities do in the state is, since this is a state-maintained road, they have a program of repaving their state roads, and it's about a 20 to 25 year program. I believe Arundel was repaved by the state about 10 years ago, if I remember correctly. It's been about that. So if you waited until they repaved Arundel, you could ask them to just change the pavement markings. But if you don't want to wait that long, it's something you might want to do. So I wanted to throw that out there as well, just to kind of think economies of scale, trying to think of where you are now, how important it is to you, how much of a priority that is. I know some municipalities do wait for the state to repave roadways in order to change some of the footprint, some of the typical section. But it also might be imperative for you to do this now if the citizens are saying this is something that they want. So I just wanted to throw that out there as options to that 4 lane to 3 lane section. The assumptions we made in the cost, because we got to make some assumptions in the cost, using a pretty high contingency for construction. Every year, construction is going up, so we're using a pretty high contingency. I believe we use 25% contingency on construction for this, because the prices are going up, and the materials change costs daily or month to month on certain materials. What we're talking about with the signal is wood poles, so that would be easier to get, and it would probably be less expensive than if you had metal poles. This does include design and inspection, so this is all in costs. It does include sidewalk additions, and then as I mentioned earlier, it's a signal with preemption for emergency and fire. So our conclusions and our recommendation is to go with a traffic signal as our preferred alternative. What we're finding from the traffic signal is, and we did have a lot of discussions with the fire chief. We talked to the fire chief at length multiple times, including at the public meeting. And the preferred alternative from the fire department is the signal because of the preemption. It will help them out a lot. If it was a roundabout, we would have to have some sort of mountable center island so that the trucks can make that turn, because it's very difficult for some of the trucks to make that turn around a roundabout. So not only is it a safer condition, better with preemption, it's easier for the trucks to get through the intersection. And if that's the impetus for a lot of this, I think that's got to be one of our highest priorities. Besides that, it's putting that traffic calming in place, and also giving you'll have more ability to put all the turn lanes in that are necessary. That would help the traffic flow through the area. And so really, and obviously the cost considerations, we talked about that a little bit. And so that's really the end result of this is the traffic signal is the preferred alternative for all those reasons. And with that, I will take any questions.
Do we have any questions from the board?
I have a question.
Commissioner Adams.
What time of I'm sorry, making me laugh. I love to laugh. The near misses. What time of the day does it happen most? It's throughout the day?
We found on this, it was all times of day. The ones that were closer were at night. They tend to be at night. But really, these were happening all day. There wasn't a specific time of day where it was happening more than other times. Even non-peak, it was still happening at non-peak.
Now, I asked that question because this is not going to happen soon. I'm assuming it was soon. But is there like we could put like patrol there during it's throughout the day, right? And when people see authority, they'll slow down just until this matter get resolved, because obviously it's severity. Someone's going to die or whatever it may be. So I think in the meantime, we might want to implement something in just to show authority on those areas.
Interim. Chief. Got it. Okay.
We'll make a note of that and let the police department know and see what they can do and what's appropriate.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Mouse.
I kind of want to know Chief Purge's thoughts on this thing too as well. You guys are going to be the ones having to get out there. Just like to hear your firsthand experience of what you're thinking about that intersection.
Yeah, so it for us is twofold. One, exactly what he mentioned. It's a response time issue to be able to get into the traffic quickly. Okay. The second part is we're very sensitive to our neighbors. Our fear without something of this nature, what the result's going to be is a fire truck sitting there blowing horns, blowing sirens that these neighbors have to hear on a regular basis. Where if we use the preemption as they come up to the intersection, they'll already be green. They'll pass right on through, much quieter, and it's not only the fire trucks, it's the ambulances that are running probably twice, 3 times the call volume we are. So it's a twofold. It's a speed issue, and it's a keeping the noise down in the neighborhood. If that being a good neighbor, if those two make sense. And for us, when we look. Could we make a traffic circle work? Absolutely. If that is a much better solution than what we have today. But our preference is the stoplight, just because the preemption part is key. You know, if you can just imagine these emergency vehicles pulling up, the light's already green, they'll move right on through it, and it'll go back to cycling and everything. But I'll be glad to answer any other specific questions you may have.
I think that's pretty much. I just wanted to know your thoughts, kind of like you guys are going to be the one to encounter that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Commissioner Davis.
Do you have an estimate of the time frame for the construction for each one of these? How long it would take? And then how that would affect the traffic, being that it's such a heavy area?
It's a great question. I was actually thinking about that as the fire chief was talking. So there would be more disruption to traffic with a roundabout, because we would have to move traffic a lot with the traffic signals. We're putting in poles. We're going to be moving utilities, things like that. It would be less disruption to the general public. Time frame wise, probably from design through construction, it probably in the 18-month range. So the construction itself would probably be somewhere in the range of 6 to 9 months, depending on the utility movement. The town would obviously do the best it could to do some of the utility movements up front, and that would cut down on some of that time. And if that's the case, it probably could do the construction in about 6 months. So all told, probably somewhere between 12 and 18 months.
Okay. And how much education can we give? I was excited to see, so I come through this intersection constantly to come here. I was through there tonight. I also come through where the Boys and Girls Club is, and I got to see today. Matter of fact, when I was coming through, this signal began for that red light. But I know there was a pain point of that traffic for months, especially during peak hours of school. So that's what my main concern is. So I'm one of those that come in from Raleigh at 5 o'clock, and I'm making that left turn. I was actually very grateful that I wasn't one on the video causing any issues. Don't let one of those cars be mine. I'll be a little bit more mindful. But just concerned because I know that traffic in the midst of it is a pain point of how much traffic, and that's one of our main intersections. So that's what my concern is in compared to the construction that's still already going on for the building of the fire station.
Yeah, I mean, in the design aspect of this, when you get to what's called the maintenance of traffic or the traffic management plan, the town can do whatever it needs to write into those plans and write into the contract with the eventual contractor. Some things that will keep the traffic flowing. We use in the industry what's called an intermediate contract time, which is an ICT, where you can kind of lay out for the contractor when the lanes have to be open, when you can do lane closures, those sorts of things. That would be written into a contract with a contractor. So if the idea is we want to keep all 4 lanes open during peak hours, that would be written into that, and that way no lanes would be closed during peak hours. Or if you want to do it during the day and tell them they have to do it at night where it costs a little more, so there is a little bit more cost to that, but it does keep the road open during the day. So there's a lot of tools in the toolbox that you could use in order to maintain the traffic during peak hours or during the day.
Okay. One more question for Chief. In well, for all three of you actually, what is the difference? Did you guys study the response time? Because when you're talking about the light, you have the ability to stop the light. But in a roundabout, you don't have that ability. So how would that work with the flow of traffic? Because you talked about having to stop the traffic and blow the horns. But if you're in a roundabout, you don't have control. So is that going to make a big difference of that decision?
Yeah, the preemptive measures, they won't have to stop at all. The audio will change before they get there, so they can just go through the light and it'll speed up their response time. I mean,
But with the
minutes and-
roundabout, that makes a difference, is that correct?
even just maneuvering around the roundabout with a large fire truck, that's going to cause time too, and it'll be, you can speak on that on your behalf, but it's just not going to be as easy, and it will affect the response time, I think. I'll let him.
Yeah, so the good thing about the preemption is it occurs, but the lights are changing to red as we're arriving. So that's a really good thing. But to go north, unfortunately, and you can see the obvious reasons why, we have to be very careful around roundabouts, especially smaller ones. We've seen, for example, the one at Wedgwood and Gannon, we can travel through that roundabout pretty seamlessly, but it does the same thing to us that it does to the rest of the traffic. It's a common measure. It slows down. So when we take a lot of calls, for example, on Pony Road. And it takes we have to really slow down to make that curve around, and the same thing would apply here. So a stoplight would be a much quicker approach.
And that's what my question is. It's the balance, because I think I feel like the roundabout, and I'm not an expert, would slow you down. But what I like about the roundabout outside of the fire trucks is it keeps the flow of traffic going, versus a stoplight that gives you guys more freedom to move quicker. But that's traffic that builds up even between that light where Food Line is to that light. That's a lot of traffic. So if that light is red, that's building up, and that's not keeping the flow of traffic. So I guess that's what I'm trying to look at. What's the balance between the two?
Yeah, and if this intersection wasn't right where it is, so the roundabouts would work in other parts of the town, like the fire chief said, because this intersection is right next to the fire station. The fire truck's going to go through that intersection almost every time. So the other roundabouts, they don't go through that intersection all the time. They're going through this intersection all the time. And so that's why it's that much more important. Now, if you had a roundabout, you could put some preemption or some signals. There are places where there are fire signals, or warnings or things like that. That only works so well. I mean, I'm not going to speak for the fire chief or other fire chiefs across the state, but I will tell you those blinking yellow lights, or if the yellow lights come on, don't work as well as an actual traffic signal. People don't pay a lot of attention to those. They pay way more attention to the traffic signal. So we would probably, with a signal, we would probably not only turn the light red, we would probably still have the yellow flashing lights as well, just so people know that the fire truck is coming, and that's why the light has turned red. So it's kind of like almost like a backup plan to the signal. You don't have that with the roundabout.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a thought in my mind, was could we install some kind of light up top that would go red and freeze all flowing traffic completely?
That is, I will tell you, I could probably count on one hand in this country where there are roundabouts with traffic signals.
Yeah, I figured.
There are very little amount of them. It is becoming more common in other countries, but in this country, there's very little amount of them.
Okay.
Roundabout has a larger footprint too. Right now with the signal, we think we can accommodate the signal without having to take more property. It can be done within the easements that are already in place, and that'll speed up the process. Time's critical now. We're shooting for 12 to 14 months, and we're going to work with the engineer that designed it, as well as the construction contractor to push that envelope. That 12 to 14 months is what we're looking for. And with doing a roundabout with that extended footprint, it's definitely going to add some time.
Because of
acquiring the
land
property.
acquisitions?
Yes, that's correct.
So you'll get a call, it'll trigger that light. You automatically, as soon as you get a call, somehow the system, they'll talk to each other. You automatically be able to get out there. That's what I'm just, okay, as soon as I call, preemptive, okay. Sounds good.
That's what you won't get, though.
And it's the cheaper option.
The cheaper, well, I'm looking safety, but at that time, that 30 seconds for me, somebody sitting on the floor will make a difference. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out what's going to get you guys there the fastest. That time is going to be key for me.
I would rather.
I'll spend a little extra money if I'm going to live, you know what I'm saying?
Open the coffee.
Less expensive option, but if it's the right thing to do, I don't mind spending money to do it right.
Well,
But I
it's
think
the option.
even here, it's the option that's cheaper, and I think
It's
it's
the
the right
option
way
that
to
you're more
go.
comfortable with.
Yes.
If you could pick, okay, it would be the, all right.
My coworker Pete, who's here with me, also Pete Padilla, he just mentioned to me that in an emergency situation, even with a roundabout, the traffic's going to be backed up because they're going to be stopped anyway. So while there's free flow at all times, even in an emergency situation, we're going to want to stop traffic anyway.
Exactly. And that's what I'm thinking about. I just want to know which of the two options ensures that they're going to stop. And I feel like the light is a very short way. All traffic stops and they can get to exactly where they need to go quicker.
Yep.
Sounds good. Any other questions from the board?
Are you looking for a motion, Madam Mayor, to pick one, or just kind
I
of?
think just,
This is
Just
informational.
But thank you.
Just in case.
So if no questions, we're going to
No
move
more
forward with the
questions?
RFQ process.
Yes.
And try to get this on the ball on this as quick as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have 2 appointed boards that have vacancies to fill. The details to those are on the slide above. So tonight we need to determine what process we want to use to fill those vacancies for those boards. The processes that we've used in the past is we will open the 2 options that are available to us are we can open the application window for those interested, or we can consider nominations from our board members. What is the pleasure of the board?
I would like to open up the application process, even if it's for not an extended period of time. Of course, if we open it up right now, we have to kind of take into account that we've got the holidays. I mean, right now we're in the middle of Hanukkah and we have Christmas coming next week. And then we've got Kwanzaa. And so I want to make sure that everyone that would need time to get their application together has time to do so. And that, I think, is like the way that we're going to get like the most participation. And then we'll have a list of folks that if other vacancies pop up, you know, we do have a list right here, but I would prefer opening it back up since a lot of, I mean, we just seated the sustainability board, and now we've got, you know, a vacancy that we have to fill. So I'd like to get as many people that are interested, you know, the option to be able to do so.
Thank you. Anyone?
I think we're at a point where we can move forward. We have a list here. I'd like to go into 2026 with all boards filled. I would like to get a consensus of the board where we have willing participants here. As a matter of fact, I think some of you in the audience, the list are here now too as well. I would like to move forward with that.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that it's not, I don't think that we've had the time to consider these. I know that the applications just hit our email yesterday evening at 5 p.m. Yesterday evening at 5 p.m., I was celebrating Hanukkah with my family, and so I didn't have an opportunity to look at these until just very recently, and so I don't have an opinion yet because I haven't been able to go over these applications.
I'd like to move to the consensus of the board. I think some of us have had it open the floor to the board.
I'll just make a comment if I can, Madam Mayor. I agree, getting these applications last minute, I was up to like 1 in the morning trying to read all of them, so I would have a vote that would matter, like that I could defend because of A, B, C, and D in the some application. But I could understand what Commissioner Baxter is saying, that I would be open to either. If this is the applicant pool that we have to pick from, I could make a decision. If we could extend it open for another week or 2 or till January to field some other applications that haven't been, you know, I don't know when this application period was open or closed. I would be open to that. I empathize with you. I understand what Commissioner Miles is saying. At least that's my 2 cents there for the board.
Thank you. Commissioner Adams?
Just being on the planning board prior, I understand the necessity of having a board so that they can vote. So I'm in agreement with Miles, Commissioner Miles. Let's strike while the fire's hot.
Would you be open to waiting until January? I mean,
there-
the January board meeting is very close.
Think that there is any business between now and January, but that's, I don't get a vote, but
Oh, okay.
just putting it out there in case y'all want to, hold on.
Where are you at, Commissioner Davis?
Commissioner Davis.
I do understand the concern, I truly do. We did get the applications late last night, so I definitely understand that. But I also agree that I would like to see us move forward. I just know in the past, we've taken time where we would say that we would table it, and then it goes into months and months.
Yeah.
So I would like to see, I did explain to the board previously, that I would like to see us to go ahead and move forward tonight, so that we don't have people sitting around waiting, and we can just go ahead. I don't want the planning board to not be able to have their meetings if we weren't able to fill those vacancies. So I actually do think it's crucial if we move forward.
I will be voting against every recommendation because I have not had the opportunity, and the board is saying that they don't respect my opinion enough to give me the opportunity to read information that we just got yesterday at 5 p.m. So I will be voting against any recommendation at this point.
Noted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think that was what was stated.
That's what
I
it
think
feels like.
everybody,
That's what it
But I don't
feels
think
like.
that's what was stated, Commissioner Baxter. I think we've all said, definitely take you into consideration. It is hard when we get this information at the last minute. Trust me, I know. And that's why I said, I want you to understand, I do hear your concerns. That's not the case.
Are we going to be receiving information last minute when certain members of the board want to rush a vote from now on? Is that how it's going to work? Because I just want to know what my expectations are.
Now, what we do in the future, what we do, we give directive to staff to ensure that we get the stuff in a more timely manner. That's how we can do it. But as for right now, we seem to have a consensus of the board to move forward. That's all.
I think, Matt, situations like this, it does come down to a vote, obviously, right? But I do agree with you, Commissioner Baxter, that it was undue stress for me to have to stay up and read all these applications. Now it's not the fault of the clerk or whoever was in charge of it.
Correct.
It was just the way it happened, is us getting the information. We just happened to get it very last minute. And if you're expected to make an informed decision, you have to review them all. And I just felt like as a new member of the board, that was my responsibility, was to make sure I did the work for our meeting. But I do, in the spirit of transparency, that word everybody loves, right? I think Commissioner Baxter is making a very valid point, right? She's making a point that it appears that we got these applications late. The people that are on those applications are probably in the audience expecting to be seated and nominated. That could appear, like she said, that this could be a last-minute rush to get things done where she doesn't have enough time to vote. I don't think that's the case, right? I wasn't involved in something like that, so I would just say the board should consider maybe a grace period for another fellow commissioner to process the information, right? That's all. I know in the past, the board, when someone on the board is asked to remove something from the agenda or asked to move something to the next meeting, the board has taken that into account and done it. I've known just from sitting out here. So I would just say, I hear you, Commissioner Baxter. I don't want you to feel, like you're being iced out, which is definitely not what's happening. So I just put that out there for the Madam Mayor to consider.
So do we want to just not open the window and just push these applicants, not open the window, but just take what we have so that we can have more time to look at it? Or if someone would like to make a motion to go ahead and to consider nominations, we can do that too.
One thing we have here, I think fewer people here, it'll be a disservice. We can at least hear from the people that are here that is on this list. Then we can decide accordingly, figure out how we want to move forward from there. I definitely don't want to open the list up again. I'm with Commissioner Davis. We'll run on months. We'll table it again. I definitely would like to go into January, New Year, with every board complete. This is me, completely filled, ready to go to action for the citizens of Zebulon. That's what I look to do.
I think it would be a great idea to allow the candidates to come up here and speak, and then maybe allow us to ask them questions.
Were they all given an opportunity and told to come here and speak tonight?
Some of these,
Or did some people just decide to show up? Because if some of the applicants weren't told that they had the opportunity to come and speak, are we then excluding them from this process unfairly?
Yes, we are.
So with that being said, what I'm thinking, what Mayor Harrison just said is, if you would just keep these applicants that we have, give you time to review, and we can come back, and that will also give these same applicants opportunity to all come here and speak. So we're not going
'Cause it
to
needs
open
to
up,
be
I'm
fair.
good with not opening up the pool to any more applicants, giving you time so that you can go and feel like you're part of the
That's
process.
fine.
and
I just
review,
want to be able
and
to
then
read
they
the
can
ones
all
that
come
we
back
currently
before us and
have.
speak. I think that's a great idea.
I think that's a happy medium because it looks like they got the votes. So, you know, I think that's a good compromise, and thank you for the compromise. And that also makes me feel comfortable because I could invite these people for coffee and tell me, hey, what do you, especially from the planning board, like we came from there.
Right, exactly.
We know what some of those planning board members are looking for in partners, and it would be nice for us to try to identify those people and say, this is why I feel this is the best person for the board position.
So would we like to table the board appointments until our January 5th meeting?
Well, let's hear from can we hear from the candidates that are here?
We're gonna hear from the candidates on that meeting so that we can hear from everyone at the same time, so that we are being equitable and fair to everyone.
Wanna do it like that?
Yes.
One thing to note too, that some of these people it's been a year. Some of these candidates are a year. I don't know how we got stuff that's a year out.
Yeah.
So we don't know if these people, some of these citizens are still here or even still have the interest. So this, like I said, we got a list that, someone go 12, literally a year.
But with
So I
that,
think go ahead, ma'am. No.
with that, then that gives another opportunity. So my suggestion at this point, based upon what Mayor Harrison has just said to us, I think at this point, we table this until January 5th with the applicants that was presented to us. That gives an opportunity also for staff to go in and contact those that you're asking
Gotcha.
about, making sure that they're still interested in participating. And if so, this also gives an opportunity for staff to reach out to every single, including us, to talk to each candidate thoroughly, and then we can make a sound decision at the January 5th.
That's
meeting.
perfect. Thank you. So, we've come to the agreement that we're going to table board appointments until the January 5th general meeting, and we are asking that staff would please reach out to ensure those people that are on the list are still, in fact, interested in these boards, and if they are not, if you could send us an updated list with those that are interested in being on the board. Does that sound fair, everyone?
Could we add a Q&A session with each candidate?
If you want to do that on
Okay,
your own, you
okay,
can absolutely
okay.
reach out to them.
And
Absolutely.
They will come before us and speak.
My further question is, are these boards, are applications still open? Because I see that we've received 4 applications since the 14th of December. So that must mean that we still have,
The window is open.
the window is
So that is
still
the
open, so
application.
people could technically still apply?
Yeah, so what you're looking at is a combination of applications that we had on hand while we were waiting for the board to give us a direction on process. And obviously, they saw some transactions going on, moving these 2 gentlemen to the board. The community heard and knew what was going on. So 4 applications came in since Sunday. And then just about 4 o'clock today, a 10th one has come in as well, and he finally confirmed his residency. So he would be a 10th one that we have on hand, but the board hasn't seen it yet. But it's a combination of historical apps that I had no resolution. I didn't know they were disqualified, but I knew they were eligible and still within the 1 year. So that's why they're before you.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jeremy.
When is staff's last day of work? Is it the 24th?
Third.
23rd. Year is the 30th,
No.
31st.
Christmas.
What is your holiday schedule?
No, for
Christmas, I'm sorry, it's the
23rd.
23rd?
So, since obviously there's still a bunch of folks waiting to apply, can we keep this open until the 23rd? And that will still give us time to be able to include them with our package.
No, I thought we were just saying we're leaving with the 10 that we
Yeah,
have, what we have now.
we are agreeing to just these candidates that we had before.
But what happens if more people want to apply in that time?
There's 2 points that, if you don't mind. First of all, I do have a 10th.
Like, we're not being real transparent
And
with our process here.
we have a 10th that came in that I just mentioned, but the staff didn't take action to announce these vacancies. A lot of these recent applications came in unsolicited, so we don't have a current open window that we would close or that has already expired. So any extension would require the announcement.
And so are we even going to consider these applications that just came in, since they came in when the
Outside of the
application
window.
period wasn't open?
Right.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's for the attorney.
Sam,
When I asked her, I think it's just a posting on the website. I've seen it.
It's going to fill it out anytime. It doesn't say you can fill out from X.
Click here, share your information. So I think that's what's been happening. People who are interested are clicking and filling, yeah.
Guess what we're trying to figure out is is it, so we have these applications plus a 10th one that came in. So are we going to take that 10th one that came in that's not currently on the list? Because if we're going to take the 10th one that's not currently on the list, it sounds like the application window is still open.
Yeah, I see what
So it's only right that we either say, as of right now, the application window is closed, or we're going to extend the application, or we're going to close it on what date? So are we saying the application for these boards, the window is closed effective December 18th at 8 p.m., or are we going to continue to, because that's
What was my question? Was that the question about how to do? So that's totally up to you all. It's a board appointment.
Right.
So the application is the way that you learn that someone is interested in the role and that they're qualified to serve in the role. You could never have applications and still appoint the board by other means. So it's a methodology you can adopt and use or not adopt and use. You know, so that's for you all to talk about or consider.
Yeah, we're just
And whether
changing the
there's 10 or
process
5
now.
or what, whoever gets the appointment is going to get the appointment by the votes, whether there's
Right,
10 or
regardless of
15 or
who's
3.
up there,
There's only
right.
2 spots, so.
Yeah.
Commissioner Rolla.
I think if we just step back and look at this from how the town may perceive it, we have an open window that has yet to be formally closed, and we received an application yesterday, today?
4
Today.
o'clock.
So I think with Commissioner Baxter saying is that window technically still open? And if it is, it probably should be opened for a couple more days just in case, to get anybody else that wants to feel like, hey, I should have submitted my application. But obviously that has to be a board motion and vote.
What's the consensus?
Right,
Yeah.
or we close it now, but then, somebody could have said, hey, I didn't know it was going to be closed because nobody announced it. The town didn't announce that it would close, so then you have that. So I think it really is something for us to discuss and see what is like a happy medium that everyone can come to that is fair to the town and also fair to us and for the people that are here that want to, speak and be heard for their chance to be on these boards.
I think we should just leave it open to the 23rd and be done with it, right? 23rd is fair. I think it's fair time.
23rd, what day is that?
The 23rd is a Wednesday, so in that case, we will be announcing that it's open
Tuesday, sorry.
Oh, and you're listening. Nothing, Sam. So we will leave the application, so we will announce that it is open, since we are officially saying it is open, and we will close it on the 23rd. Board. Commissioner Miles, how does that sound?
I'm good with that.
Commissioner Baxter?
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Commissioner Roa? Commissioner Adams? Yes. Commissioner Davis?
But I want to assure those that are here tonight that this process will take course.
Yes,
Those that are
January
in August
5th, we will be doing board appointments on January 5th during our regular board meeting. Does the staff have everything they need from us?
I'm sorry.
Does staff have everything they need from us to move forward?
I do, unless you. I believe we do, Madam Mayor.
Good, okay.
One thing I'd like to discuss with the board, do we want the people here that night to kind of talk to, kind of share? Or what do you guys want to?
That's what I would recommend. I would like the
Definitely have them coming this year.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Definitely.
23rd, it's closed with the expectation that at the next meeting, we're going to be holding interviews with them or Q&As while they speak. And that night, we will be able to have walk out of here with full boards.
When you say Q&A.
Well, it won't be a Q&As.
Q&A,
We will
they
give
just
them an
talk and
opportunity
share.
to speak. If you
Yeah.
want to ask those people questions, you will have until from the not Christmas. So you'll have a few days to be able to reach out to those people because we also want to respect our staff's vacation and holiday time. So once our staff returns and all of the applications are in, they will distribute those applications to the board. And then if you want to reach out to those people one-on-one, but as far as when they come before the board on January 5th, they'll just give like a statement, a minute or so, 1 minute or so, just to tell us who they are and why they want to be on the board.
And-
Sounds good. Okay.
Sound good, but just knowing that like those applications may come after the rest of our packet comes because the rest of the packet has to be finalized 10 days prior. And so we'll probably get it the same time we normally get it, but it just might not be in the actual packet.
Yeah.
So we'll just give you time to make sure you do your due diligence, like, so you're not caught.
I would, yes,
Yes.
that will give me time. Thank you.
Thank you. We have
If
a question from the
If I
staff.
could share a realistic expectation, if we go through the 23rd collecting apps, when we return on the 29th, the following Monday, I believe, depending on how big this volume is, we could have everybody reviewed for eligibility and have that packet of applications going out to the board by midday on Monday, the 29th.
That sounds great.
Still give you a week to review before the 5th.
Perfect.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes.
Everybody happy? I mean, as you can be?
I think
All right.
Yes, you got that.
All right. Is there, Chief Perry. I didn't forget you.
I've got a message from our interim manager who obviously couldn't be with us tonight. So we're excited to let everybody know tomorrow, December 19th, the applications will open for strategic grants. So that'll be posted on our website. Emails will go out from Nikki to the community. So Nikki.
She's that way.
Oh, there she is. I looked the wrong way. She's coordinating those applications. So anybody who has specific questions, just reach out to Nikki in the manager's office. But we just want to go ahead and put a word out that will open tomorrow, and that we'll give you regular updates starting with that January 5th as that process is progressing.
That sounds good.
Hope
Thank
I was
you.
close to the 30 seconds.
It was
Thank
30
you.
seconds. Chris told me it would take 30 seconds. Great job, Chris. Thank you all so much. Is there any other business? Any comments? All right. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Favor? Meeting adjourned.